From studios at the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, this is Fourth and State. Tim Sullivan says a new mine in northern Wisconsin will create jobs up north and also in the Milwaukee area. And he says a bill now moving through the legislature is essential. We'll find out why on Fourth and State. I'm David Haynes. I'm the editorial page editor of the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. The mining bill, which is now in the state legislature, is one of the most contentious pieces of legislation since last spring. We're joined today by Tim Sullivan, who's the former CEO of Bucyrus International, now Caterpillar, and who is with the Wisconsin Mining Association. The association favors the bill and it favors the mine. Tim, welcome.
Glad to be here.
Why don't you tell us the connection between a mine in northern Wisconsin and jobs in southeastern Wisconsin?
Directly tied. Right now we have around 1,500 people, union members that manufacture mining machinery. We estimate that this one mine will employ or sustain employment for about 80 direct laborers here in the city of Milwaukee and another 300 related indirect jobs that pertain to mining machinery manufacture here in southeastern Wisconsin.
And that's because Milwaukee's a center for that kind of manufacture.
We're the rural capital. We're the rural capital of mining machinery manufacture.
Now, environmentalists have had some issues with the bill that is now coming out of the Assembly. One of the concerns is over the time period, the permitting time period, the process of a year. Another one is over the hearing process. How, in the sort of equation of jobs versus the environment, how do you make that cost-benefit analysis in your view?
Well, a couple things. First of all, we tried to balance the environment with the economic reality of a mine like this. When you ask an investor to come in and spend $1.5 billion, that investor wants to have some certainty in the process. We didn't try to recreate the wheel. I think what we try to do is emulate what's been done now for several years in Minnesota and Michigan on iron mining. And quite frankly, we didn't follow exactly their path. For instance, in the state of Michigan, they can get a mine permitted in less than a year. We're saying, let's shoot for a year. So we didn't really match what they were doing. So we tried to balance that with what they're doing. Does that really
take less than a year in Michigan?
It does. It does. Right. You know, it depends. You know, if there's questions that come up through the permitting process, which is inevitable, it could last longer than that. And quite frankly, when we're saying 365 days, same thing. I mean, that's ideal. Will it happen in a year? Probably not. For your second point of that question was, and that's the input.
The hearing process.
The hearing process.
Right.
Now, you know, this is going to be charged to the DNR. There will be a hearing up front and a hearing on the back end. But during the process, there are 4 committees that will be formed in northern Wisconsin. And those 4 committees will be giving constant feedback and constant input as the environmental impact studies are being filed and as the discussion as to how this mine will actually evolve. So to not have a public hearing per se, one on the front side, one on the back side, there'll be a lot of dialogue with a lot of constituents as the process proceeds.
Well, one of the points that the other side makes is that by doing away with the contested case hearing, which the bill would do, it does away with sort of this testimony under oath. What is it about that process that you think doesn't work?
Well, contested case, 2 things. First of all, it certainly throws a big roadblock down when the process isn't complete. I mean, our contention is let's let the process continue. Let's get everything on the table. And then if someone wants to take offense, take offense. You know, this is the United States of America. You can sue anybody you want. And quite frankly, our opinion is if everything's on the table, everything is known, then we'll have that public hearing. But then also, if there's something contentious in the permit that someone doesn't like, they can contest that. They can contest that, you know, after the process has been complete. Again, you're trying to balance an economic and environmental situation here. You want to make sure that that investor at least has some due process to at least get the permit complete before there is a contested case.
Without the bill, or without a bill, and there have already been a few tweaks, there may be more in the state Senate, likely will be more. Will there be a mine in northern Wisconsin?
I hope so. I hope so. I think
even without the bill?
Not without the bill.
That's my question.
No, not without the bill.
Okay.
It's
and why is that?
Well, for one thing, I think the mining laws right now in the state of Wisconsin are directly related to sulfide mining. And that evolved from the Crandon permit back in the mid-90s, and prior to that, the Flambeau mine. We've had iron mines in the state of Wisconsin. There was actually one in Black River Falls. And that was done, believe it or not, with very little or no legislation. We don't believe that we can attract a ferrous mining company to the state of Wisconsin unless we can somewhat emulate the ferrous mining laws in Minnesota and Michigan. Mm-hmm. And they've separated the two. They've kept sulfide mining laws, which are much more stringent, and they've separated out the ferrous mining because it's simpler, it's less environmentally impactful. So unless we do this, I don't think we're going to attract an investor.
And that was my question. You've said in the past that you need to separate those two out, and that's because there are different issues with sulfide mining.
Correct.
Okay. Let's shift gears for a minute. We've talked a lot in the past when you've been in to visit with us about jobs and job creation. It's a focus of the newspaper this year. And I know one of your concerns is the alignment between jobs available and the qualifications of the folks who are looking for work. Right. What do you think can be done about that, especially in Milwaukee County?
It's a very, very difficult situation. I think because of our education system that we've had, not just here in Wisconsin, but around the country for the last 25 years, all high school education went 100% college prep. Now, when you and I went to school, there was an alternative. We had industrial arts. We had an ability to take a different career path.
And some of the guys I went to high school with ended up doing better than I did for the first 10 years.
Absolutely.
So.
Well, we took that away.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, we've disenfranchised almost 2 full generations of people. And now that group got disenchanted with school. They didn't get a high school education. They're in the job force. We have 710,000 people now in the state of Wisconsin that do not have a high school education. So somehow we got to do 2 things. First of all, revamp the education system, get industrial arts back in the high schools. And we've got some ideas on how to do that and do it in a budget-friendly way. And
that's you talk about multiple pathways.
Multiple pathways, dual enrollment, juniors and seniors going half day at the high school, half day at a local technical college. And that would work perfect in Milwaukee.
And there's a bill in the legislature now that would do that.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
But geographically, that works perfect for Milwaukee because the logistics are manageable. And then the hard part is we got to figure out what are we going to do with all these people that we disenfranchised over the last 25 years. That's going to be hard. We've got to get them to reading and math levels to allow them to work in some basic skills that go into the big hiring bodies in the state of Wisconsin right now, which is primarily healthcare and manufacturing. It's going to be difficult. We've got some ideas on how we think we can get that done, and we just have to get them, I think, broader based across the state of Wisconsin.
Okay. Well, Tim Sullivan, thanks so much for being with us on 4th and State, and good luck with all the things you're working on right now.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.